To Mr. and Mrs. Monroe, may you always be as in love as you are today.
I'm milling about with Finnerty Steeves, and she is the writer and star of Before, During, and After. Welcome.
Hi, Robin. Thanks for having me.
What a little gem this movie is. I loved it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really thrilling to finally be able to share it. It was a lot of working with friends, and it was a labor of love, and it's so nice to finally be able to share it with people.
Now, we're not just talking about friends. We're talking about like actors who we've seen a million times in a million shows, and what a fantastic ensemble cast that you put together. So were these guys all like your besties?
These were a lot of people that, I had co-directors, Stephen Kunkin and Jack Lewars, and Jack had a lot of his friends sort of on the crew side, and Steve is also an incredible actor, so he had a lot of friends too. And then we had great casting directors, Amy Christopher and Marcia DeBonis. So I think between sort of our relationships of doing plays and stuff, and a lot of theater in New York, we just sort of put it out there and said, hey, we're doing this thing, would you be interested? And we couldn't believe who said yes to us to come in for one scene, to come in for a day and to play with us for one day. It was just an embarrassment of riches, really. And when I watch it, that's what I see. Like, I can't believe that we had that those kind of people coming to play with us for one day. And we finally tallied it up, and it's like there's I believe there's 101 Broadway credits amongst our cast, and between that's just and it's just no ego, just people who are like, yeah, I would love to come and help you guys out. And what's the part? And I get to do a scene with Miriam. That'd be so fun. And then they come in and play. And so it's incredible when I look at that cast list.
Of course, we're talking about Miriam Shore, who is in Younger. And then we've got Richard Masur, who is in Younger and also was with you in Orange is the New Black.
We would sometimes play outtakes, but a lot of times because of the nature of the film, we wouldn't be able to use it, because sometimes for us trying to find that balance of truth constantly, because some of the scenes are really dramatic and some are really funny, but we never wanted it to go too far one way. So even some of our favorite cuts of scenes were hilarious, but it just tonally did not quite fit. So we would have to kind of end up going back to what we had,
Oh my gosh, I can only imagine the gag reel for that scene in the pleasure chest. I mean, that was just hysterical.
It was so fun to do that, and hard to keep a straight face, but it was just that was a lot of fun. We had a really good time.
So was this inspired by something that actually happened to you or people that you know? I mean, I know that you lived on a sailboat, which is, I want to get to that in a minute, which is a crazy story in itself.
Yeah. So it is based on, I'm an actor. I've never actually written anything, but my first marriage, seemingly perfect 15-year marriage, fell apart. And I was completely like Jenny,
Was he also an actor?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
No, was he an actor? No, he was not. He was not an actor. Just a really, a good guy. We were married for a long time, and then it was just over, and it was devastating to me. But I wanted to, once I sort of got on the other side of the heartache, not completely, I don't know. I mean, divorce is just so, life altering. I mean, it's just, so once I sort of got on the other side and I started healing a little more, I was like, God, I wonder if I could try to write that, and I wanted to try to write what it felt like for me to go through a divorce. And ultimately try to create something that was truthful, but also possibly a little inspiring in terms of, I didn't want it to be about her getting the man or the baby or the job, I just wanted the end for us to feel like, oh God, she's going to be okay. She's going to be all right. And, that's like that, and they're both going to be okay, but it's just, for me, I didn't want it to necessarily have like, oh, see, it was all worth it because she got the this or that. And I just wanted to be like, we would have the feeling of her being on her way to being okay.
Got it. So, all right, tell me about living on a sailboat.
So when I decided a little later in life to go back to graduate school for acting, I went to the American Conservatory Theater, ACT in San Francisco. it was right at the peak of the dot-com boom, and finding a place to live was insane. And it was absolutely insane. So I was living in this tiny, tiny shoebox of an apartment, and the rent was going up again. And my ex was like, I've always wanted to live on a boat, whatever. And I was like, let's do it. He's like, what? I was like, because I was in school 13 hours a day anyway. So I was like, now's the time. So we put stuff in storage, and we bought a 32-foot sailboat and lived on it for 3 years. It was actually really fun and sort of freeing, because we put everything in storage, and then there wasn't, the only stuff that we had, when you go on vacation and you take your favorite pair of jeans, your favorite books, your favorite sneakers, and then that's kind of all you need. And so my closet was this big. We had a hanging closet, and we lived really simply, and I was in school, and it was a really great time. And it was sort of before cell phones, really. So there was, it was a lot of like texts of like, sometimes my house wouldn't be there when I got home, but it was a great adventure. I'm really glad we did that. It was a fun time.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, were you involved in like huge swells of any kind while you were living on the boat?
Well, where we lived in Alameda, and it was sort of protected, it was pretty well protected. So once you're inside those sort of, but all night long, you're sort of, there's definitely movement. It's your house is moving, which is bizarre. It's bizarre.
I can't imagine like coming off, like, when you go on a cruise, you're like that.
For years you do that. Like anytime I'd get in the shower, if you close your eyes, there's a little bit of it like, ooh, you kind of do that. Yeah.
Exactly. And then is it true your very first role was with the Sopranos? Is that true?
Right out of grad school, my first part out of graduate school when I moved to New York. Yeah. I know. The best part really was the table read, because I was invited to the table read, and I was such a huge fan of the show. And we sat around, and there they all were. And we had to go around the room and sort of say who we were, And it's years ago, and I still get all get all nervous and stuff, but it was just incredible to go around that room, and I'm so-and-so, so-and-so, I play so-and-so, so-and-so, and then I'm like, I'm Finnerty Steeves, I played Denise McCarthy, it was just, and to watch, James Gandolfini and Edie Falco read their scenes across the table, I'll never forget it. It was a dream.
Yeah, I have a lovely connection because Aida Turturro and I went to New Paltz together.
Oh wow! Yeah, we had this. Our scene was together. I played one of the soccer moms, so I got to work with her.
Yeah. Oh gosh, what a fabulous beginning, really.
Yeah, that was quite a great first job. That's for sure.
I'm excited for the prequel for the film.
For what do you mean?
The Sopranos prequel that's coming out.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even, you have no idea. My whole world has been before, during, after, I have not even barely looked up. It's homeschooling my 7-year-old, and before, during, after. So tell me what's going on outside the world. This film has been like so much, Yeah.
And it's interesting because Valentine's Day is coming up on Sunday. So what a wonderful little film to watch with your loved one on Valentine's Day.
I know it is it is a love story, but it's like a love story, like falling in love with yourself again, sort of thing. And it is like falling in love with New York City and the theater community. It feels like more like a love letter to that than necessarily another partner in that way. But yeah, it does feel like a love story in a way, but not between two people. I was really close with my parents, and my dad was super romantic, but never on the days that he was supposed to be, or, I just love that kind of, my parents were never about that. So I always found it so beautiful that just on a random Wednesday, he would come home with flowers for us, or, and I've always been that way. And my husband, I've since remarried, and my husband's the same way. He's, we're both kind of on the days that we feel like we're supposed to, we're like, we don't need to do that, but trying to think, I feel like this last year has been strangely romantic with just the three of us. I know that sounds really weird, but because it's not really romantic in the same way, but my husband and daughter and I being like trapped together for a year has been so beautiful. It's been really challenging, but we've just had some really great time together that I feel like is I hope. My daughter's 7, so I'm not sure how much she'll remember, but it feels really precious, the time that we've had.
Oh, that's gorgeous. What does your husband now feel about this film?
Oh, he's so cool. He's like, he's so confident, cocky Italian guy, just super like, he's so proud of me with all of this. He's an associate producer on the film, and he's just been so supportive. And I think anyone married to somebody who's doing this kind of a thing, it's 24/7. It's like not just something that's like, oh, I'm going into the office. It's constant. He'll ask me something and I'm listening, and then he'll be like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm just having a whole conversation in my head about what I need to tell Elizabeth. So it's a lot. But he's been super supportive. And a lot of the people who are part of the team now are people that he's introduced me to also. And just really proud of me. And it's been good.
I want to talk to you about the couple who play your parents, Kristine Sutherland and John Pankow, who are actually married in real life.
Yes.
How cool is that?
They have never worked together, believe it or not. So that was the first time, not only like playing husband and wife, but they'd never even worked together.
Wow.
So they had and it's so funny because they're not that much older than me. And so the reason we cast them is initially the very beginning of the scene, the very beginning of the film used to start with a flashback of little Jenny. And it was a funny scene with little Jenny being, and being scared to go to school. And so it was hilarious. So that's why we cast them, because we wanted someone who could play, that would realistically be able to. So, but once we cut that, I was like, sorry guys, like they're not that much old. They're not old enough to be my parents, if anything, but they did such a beautiful job, and they're just such amazing people. And yeah, they've just been so supportive. They were our first, Amy and Christopher went out to them first. They were our first yeses. And that just helped. Once you sort of set that, then you can reach out to other people at that point and say, John and Kristine are on board, would you be interested? And that just kind of set the bar in a way that was, that I'll be forever grateful for,
I have a secret crush on John Pankow. He's so cute.
He is. And he's so ornery and so funny. And I'm blanking on the name of a play. He did a play a couple years ago at TACT at the Actors Company. It was an off-Broadway play with my friend Jen Thompson, and he showed a side of him that I'd never seen before, and he was incredible. I'm blanking on the play. It was like a play from like the 50s, and a really, really, really dark alcoholic character that was not how we always think of John, as being so silly. And it was incredible. He's such a great guy and a great actor, really.
Oh yeah, he was fantastic in Sessions. Did you see that?
I did, yeah. He's hilarious. He's just absurd.
Speaking of absurd, I want to know where you got Heinhole from. Where did that word come from?
That was, what's funny? That was something, I believe Steve Kunkin might have come up with that one, because we were doing that scene, and then I think it was Steve who said Heinhole, because he was like, we were talking about someone being a heinous a-hole. Yeah, that was just, and that little phrase has been catching on. People are talking about that, not be a Heinhole, but it was pretty funny.
It's a good little mashup, right?
Yes.
And Marin Hinkle, I think I went to her apartment back in the day when she first moved to New York City for an interview with her.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, she is
lovely.
She is incredible too. The fact that she said yes to us to do this. As a matter of fact, I think we were trying to move some stuff around because she had just booked this pilot of a show we'd never heard of, which turned out to be,
marvelous. The marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah. So she was like, I'm so sorry, I can't do, she was supposed to be in the divorce scene, the scene where they're the signing papers, and she couldn't be there for that day because of shooting and stuff. But I couldn't believe that she was, willing to just come and hang out with us and play with us. But yeah.
And it's so nostalgic watching this movie, because you probably shot it way before COVID was even here, because we see the subway, getting in and out of the subway. I can't remember the last time I took a subway.
I know. I have taken it twice now. It's people, New Yorkers are amazing. 99.98% of New Yorkers are wearing masks. They're super respectful. It's, I'm so proud of this city. I love this city so much. It's definitely a little bruised, right now, but the people are so good. I just love this city. It's I'm not from New York. I've only, I'm originally from Southern California, but I just love this city so much. I said it's featured in the film. I feel like it's something I kind of take for granted, but then people who live everywhere are like, oh God, I love those New York scenes. And even just showing, like there's such a specific feel to even like the diners and the audition spaces. And there's just something in those spaces that you can't sort of recreate, and so we had so many locations. As a first-time writer, I'm like, oh, they're here and now they're there and now these 17 people come in, so once we went to sit down to make it, we're like, okay, how can we, is there any way that scene can happen in the diner also? Because it was just, now I know that. I hope it doesn't slow me down to like have a big imagination, but it was a lot of locations, in a very few days. So
where is this location actually behind me? Where was that shot?
That was actually, so that's part of Jenny's dream footage, excuse me. And that was shot, Jack is an incredible photographer and he just bought a drone. So if I'm not mistaken, I feel like he got that shot on his trip to, I don't remember where, they went on a trip someplace. I don't remember, I'll have to ask him. I don't remember where they went. I feel like it was in Oregon, but I'm not positive. And was able to get that footage because we really wanted it that to be part of the nightmare dream sequence.
Would you go back to ever living on a boat again? Is that something that you would do?
No, I didn't. Now that it's behind me, I'm so glad I did it. But that's not really me to live on it. I loved I wasn't as much into sailing. I loved it, but I think I had some sort of like boat narcolepsy, where like I was sort of the equivalent of a Labrador retriever where I'd be super positive and like, oh yeah, we're going out. And then but pretty useless. Once we got out there, I was kind of just like, couldn't do much, just, excuse me, just very positive. But I would also slowly fall asleep. So I don't know if it was my body's way of like not getting sick, but I would be super enthusiastic. And then 12 minutes later, I was, passed out in the V berth. But I love that that's part of my past, but I don't necessarily want to live on a boat again. I am doing some writing about it. So that should be fun. I'm writing a pilot about sort of my experience.
Oh man, that would be so cool. Like a television show?
Yeah. About my experience there. So that's one of the things I'm working on right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Well, that sounds like that'll be really, really fun.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it'll be great. I'm excited about that. I'm dying to write another film. I sort of am working on that, but I know the pilot I'm really trying to get finished in the next 30 days. So that's kind of like my goal. Now that the film is out, I'm trying to like bring that home. So
can you give us like a little story pitch, what it's about?
I'm not totally prepared to give an official pitch, but it is basically based on, the incredible community that I met of people who live aboard. It's a very specific kind of world, and I just feel like it would be a really fun world. And it's it's going to be about a woman. It's not the woman won't be obviously as closely related to my first film, but a woman who is gifted a boat from her father, and so so then she gets to know her father through this gift and through the people that he knew. So.
Oh, wonderful. So Finnerty, what would you like audiences to come away with after they see before, during, and after?
I think just, if anyone is going through anything similar, not necessarily a divorce, but any kind of breakup or any kind of thing where you sort of think your life is going to be one thing and then it seemingly overnight falls apart. My hope is that it just is comforting and sort of, inspiring in a way of like, that will be okay. That it's like their only way. You have to go through it. You have to go through the whole thing. And I think that, thinking through certain memories, like memories can change depending on where you are in your healing too. And that was part of what I wanted to try to do with the film also is, it showed like how that's where she was on that particular day and how she remembered those things on that particular day. And how do you move forward, and let go ultimately.
Great, great. Well, like I said in the very beginning, I adored this film. It was just such a feel good. I laughed. I maybe cried a little.
Good. Good. Well,
Thank you so
Robin.
much for joining me, Finnerty. It was really fun.
Thank you. So nice to meet you, Robin.
All right, take good care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
I whipped up a kick-ass divorce mix playlist for you.
And I was in charge of the booze.
Right.
Always new. Always refreshing. Always candid. Always milling about. Robin Milling delivers what celebrities are saying to you.